going on, YouTube? Happy Saturday to everybody. Hope you guys are having an amazing weekend. rdapdan here, federal prison time. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you want to get more updates. Also, text the word YouTube to 35074 to get added to a notification text messaging list. That way you will never miss any updates or time changes, anything like that. Hope you guys are having a really good weekend so far. It's a beautiful day, at least out here on the West Coast over in Spokane, Washington. Today we're talking about what could you be doing different. You know, those of you who are getting ready to potentially go to federal prison and you've got either paid attorneys or you've got appointed attorneys, and what can you be doing different that could have a potential impact on the outcome. So yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about a little bit today. We've got about a minute or so to go, and then we'll be jumping into that. Today is one of those days. I've been trying to wake up all day long. It's been rough. Don't know why. Hurt my back in the middle of the night. Don't even know what I did. Just woke up with like a kink in my back. I guess that's what happens when you're on your way to turning 40. I did have an amazing phone call about 45 minutes ago with Joe, after prison show Joe. We're definitely, hopefully going to try to do something next week, the end of next week. So maybe you guys will have that to look forward to. Joe's talking about having me on his channel, which would be amazing for the Federal Prison Time channel and all of its struggles to get up there in the rankings. What's going on, Mike? Good afternoon to you, man. So, time we got here. All right, it's 1 o'clock. So today, guys, we're talking about what can you be doing differently than what you're already currently doing looking at your federal prison sentence. So let's kind of run through the process. So you're under investigation. At some point, you either get indicted or you're still waiting to be indicted, and you start taking measures to protect yourself. You hire an attorney, you get one appointed to you, and then what? You're putting a lot of trust, effort, faith, resources, finances into your legal team, trying to make sure that that you have the best possible outcome. And I know a lot of you, if you're early in it, you're hoping that best possible outcome is it just goes away and the case gets dropped. Well, if you're in the federal system, that's not that likely to happen, even though we do see it happen from time to time, but it's just not very likely to happen. So things that people usually aren't really focusing on are the things that they have in their control. What are you doing on the day-to-day? Hey, Kimberly, how are you doing? So what are people doing while they're getting ready to go to prison? Are you working on making sure you're maintaining a job? Are you focusing on building a strong mentor network of peers that are potentially going to hold you accountable to what it is you tell them you're going to be focusing on? You know, your probation officer should definitely be in that list. Friends that are going to tell you what you need to hear versus what you want to hear. You need to have them in your list. And when I say in your list, this should be like a weekly email that goes out to everybody that's in your mentor group, your mentor peers, you're holding each other accountable. It should be in your mentor group email network every week. You should be telling them what you did this week, what your plan is for next week. And then when you follow up with them next week, you let them know, this is what I did accomplish, this is what I didn't accomplish, give me some feedback. This is going to allow you to start making this real and going out and focusing on things like doing community service. I know there's a lot of prison consultants out there. And look, if you're looking to hire somebody that's going to tell you what you want to hear, then I'm not going to be your guy, because I'm going to be the prison consultant that pushes you to make you do things that are slightly uncomfortable and things that are outside of your comfort zone. Doing community service, making sure that you have this network of peers, making sure if you're trying to have the ability to take RDAP at a later date, making sure you're doing things like AA or NA, because this is going to prepare you for RDAP. Even if it's not necessarily going to help you get into RDAP, It's going to help you prepare for what RDAP is all about and what's going to take place in RDAP. Your personal narrative, your character reference letters, these are letters that are going to go to the judge at the time of sentencing. If you're getting started early enough, guys, your personal narrative should also be included in your pre-sentence report, your PSR. Once you take a plea or you're found guilty, U.S. probation is going to interview you. They're going to generate a report that is going to basically be a recommendation to the judge as to what should happen. If the probation officer doesn't fully gather your information properly and build this picture, because remember, their job isn't to make you look like a great person. Their job, in a lot of cases, is just to illustrate what the prosecution is already saying about you. So they usually just go in there and put facts. He did this on this date. This is basic information about you, where your personal narrative is your story. And if it's done right and it's being held accountable, and it's not just some bullshit story that makes it paint you in this great picture, your personal narrative can have a strong impact in your PSR. I'm not going to lie, there are some attorneys out there that are going to tell you, this stuff doesn't make a difference. Why waste your time on this? We just had a client about 2 weeks ago. We all worked really hard on his personal narrative and his character reference letters, and his attorney told him flat out, I am not submitting this, definitely not submitting it in your PSR, and I'm not submitting it to the judge. Refused. Flat out told the client he would not do it. Information did not get submitted, and he was sentenced. I think the most time he could have got was like 11 years. I don't believe he had a minimum mandatory, and if he did, I think it was a 3-year minimum mandatory. He ended up getting sentenced to 9.5 years. Now, I'm not going to say the personal narrative, the character reference letters would have made a difference, but now he'll never know because he allowed his attorney to dictate and control too much. Remember, guys, these attorneys work for you. These attorneys are supposed to have your best interest in heart, and just because they think they know what's in your best interest doesn't mean they're always right. You've got to be willing to challenge your attorneys, ask them questions, put things in front of them that are definitely going to make them think. I know a lot of you are trying to figure out like what your custody level is going to be. Are you going to be at a camp, a low, a medium? And those become real important questions when you're talking about 5K1, cooperation, potential Rule 35s where you may be cooperating against additional people that are not involved in your case. All of these things become important factors to where you're going to land in a security level. So a lot of times your attorney doesn't even know how to calculate this information, or they'll tell you it's not important, don't worry about it, that's going to be up to the BOP. Yes, that's all true. It is going to be up to the BOP to figure out where you're going to go. But if you think there's a chance that you're going to be going to a higher security, like either a medium or higher, you want to really consider the factors of what that means if you have 5K1s in cooperation on your paperwork. As we've talked about in the past, going to a higher security prison doesn't look favorable when you have 5K1s in cooperation. A lot of times they won't let you walk the yard. They won't let you sit at certain tables. You can't watch TV in certain rooms. In some cases, they make you check into the SHU, special housing unit, like solitary confinement, until you can potentially get transferred. Then you get transferred to another medium, and you got the same issue starts all over again. So these are definite factors that you have to be considering when you start preparing early on. Because early on, your main goal is to do as little time as possible. But you have to balance that out with how are you going to do your time? What kind of time are you going to be doing versus how much time? And you have to be able to be satisfied and comfortable with where you're going and what you're going to be able to do. Because even if you get a shorter sentence and you're not able to do any of these things, it can be a real rough, short amount of time in prison that's going to seem like forever versus maybe doing a little extra time in more of a comfortable setting. So only you are going to know those decisions in the end. So it's important that if you don't know what should go into a personal narrative, if you don't know what should go into these character reference letters, if you don't know how to properly prepare for a PSR, your pre-sentence report, your PSR is going to dictate so many things. And there can be a lot of little minute errors in there that you don't even notice at first. But definitely when it gets to your substance abuse section, guys, when you get to that substance abuse, it becomes very important to whether or not you can qualify for the most important program a lot of people think about is the residential drug addiction program, because that can reduce your sentence by up to 12 months. Now, we've gotten clients that we've completely prepared for the PSR, but once they went into their PSR interview with U.S. probation, for some reason, when that report came back, it was very still kind of iffy on the substance abuse, like almost like either the client wasn't real clear with what they needed to go in there, or the probation officer just was not really listening and writing down his own information. This is why we have decided to team up with a gentleman by the name of Irving Shatner, who specializes in psychotherapy, doing therapy sessions. He understands the residential drug addiction program, so he interviews you, writes an assessment that we submit into your PSR. So it's in there from a written professional, worded the right way to assist you having the best possible chance at getting into the program of RDAP. Now, obviously, you still need to qualify. There still needs other things need to fall into place for you. But right now, I've got a couple of clients that we just went through it in the preparation portion of it, and their PSRs are still a little bit weak. So yeah, they're going back. They're trying to get their attorneys to make the to addend it, to get it to show what it needs to say. But there's no guarantee that the probation officer is going to make the proper changes. Sometimes you might just get a rogue probation officer who takes joy in seeing things not go the way they should go for you. Doesn't want to see anything extra work in your favor. You never know. You don't know what people's motives and initiatives are. So by taking out a lot of the guesswork, putting more professionals in place, putting things in control of what you can be in control of, like your network, personal narratives, character reference letters, preparing best you possibly can. Because if you're just waiting and your attorney's doing all the work and you're just staring at your watch, wondering what's going to happen, feeling sorry for yourself, not explaining things to your family, I'm telling you guys, the potential outcome can be not into your favor. What's going on, Will? Happy Saturday, my man. Hope you're having a fantastic week. Guys, is the video showing up choppy on your guys' screen? I'm seeing it a little flashy on the YouTube screen here. So let me know how it's playing. Looks like my recording device is playing smooth, but just give me some feedback on that, if you would, please. Yesterday was an amazing day, guys. Juan Carlos, what's up, my man? So here in Spokane, they're trying to pass through city council. They're trying to pass what's called ban the box. I don't know if you guys have heard this in different areas. Ban the box is basically for felons when they're filling out a job application to not be able to ask them during that point of the process whether or not they have a felony or not. Because we all know what happens is you go in, fill out an application, somebody's scanning through it, they see felony, without even giving you any type of chance, without reading anything, they might just disregard you automatically. So it really kind of creates distance between your qualifications for the job and them just kind of deciding without even giving you a shot that you might be qualified for it. So I went to a meeting yesterday. It was at a church, and it's put on by a group called I Did the Time. And it was really, man, they've got a lot of strong, powerful people that are going to go speak at city council on August, I want to say it's August 14th. They actually asked me if I would come stand up and speak to the issue. They need 4 out of 7 votes, and they know that they have 3 of them. One person is on the fence because they're afraid of how they will be perceived if they're voting for this. So it's crazy. You have all of these people that say they really care about, equality, getting people back in the workforce, but at the end of the day, their career and how people view them ultimately trumps everything, right? Trump, go figure. But it was, and everybody that was there yesterday, there was a lot of felons. Hey, Dave, how are you doing? Who else we got? We got Dave. We got Alexandra, if I'm saying your name right. Video is good quality. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, yeah, so they had a lot of strong voices there. A lot of these people that have spent a lot of time in prison. But I think it's important to get people that didn't go to prison, to get regular tax-paying citizens throughout the area to say, hey, we want to give felons a second chance and not just disregard them, because what happens is you tell somebody, no, 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 we're not going to help. What's going to happen? They're going to go back to crime. They're going to go back to doing the same shit that they were doing before, or at least they're going to blame it on that. So if we get people, business owners, people of just in the area, showing up to these city council meetings stating, hey, it's okay, we support you to say yes. Don't be afraid that we're going to disregard you. So my fear is you got all these felons standing up there, and a lot of them just have that felon look on them. It look like they've lived a real hard, rough life. City council members may not resonate with them and think, well, who's going to care if I say no, because who's really caring about them, right? But if you get the regular average Joe to go up there and say, hey, we want this too, now city council members are seeing themselves on the other side. As fucked up as that sounds, now they're concerned with, well, if I don't say yes, I'm going to piss off people that are potentially voting for me. These people matter. These people can vote. So I need to take these situations a little bit more serious. So I had a good time with there yesterday. I was going to record and make a vlog out of it for you guys, but I didn't really get a chance to talk to them ahead of time about that, so I didn't want to walk around this church while they were talking with my video camera going crazy. So, but they're all for it, and we're going to be doing some interviews with a lot of these ex-felons that have done some serious time. We met with a lady that was actually raped while she was in prison. So wherever your mind can go on that, that's probably very, very close to what happened. So I'm going to do what we can do. We're going to voice our opinion. We're going to bring the community of people that aren't even there. We're going to let them know that we've got a YouTube channel, and next week I should be doing a video with Joe with After Prison Show, and that should definitely build the force behind federal prison time and the people that are supporting this channel and showing up on a regular basis. Like all of you. We've only got 6 of you in the room right now. And what's sad about that is there's 6 people in the room watching right now. How many people are potentially going to federal prison? How many people have friends, family, loved ones in federal prison? Everybody says that they want change. They want to see getting rid of minimum mandatories. They want to see less people getting locked up. But yet nobody really wants to do anything about it. We see a whole lot of talk, a whole lot of, Facebook warriors who will go post something. But where are they? Where were they yesterday during these meetings? Where are they during the city council when it matters, when voices can and the masses can actually make stuff happen? Where are these people when you need them? So it's an unfortunate, sad realization of the times we live in, where if you read most of the posts you see on Facebook, it's like it's pity party after pity party. Not many people are willing to actually do something. I would say a lot of people contribute to problems versus contributing to solutions. So those of you out there that have the ability to contribute to solutions in your own area, go be a part of anybody can go to city council and stand up and be a voice. Find out things that are going wrong in your area with minimum mandatories, with not hiring felons because they've got a check mark on an application that says, are you a felon? You don't need to fucking know that right now. Call me in for an interview, get to know me, see me face to face, then ask me, do you have any felonies? Because there are companies can do background checks, so it's not like you're going to lie to them and they're not going to find out. But by telling them so early on, they might be making a decision without putting any thought or effort into it. That's the idea of getting rid of banning the box, guys. Doesn't mean it's going to necessarily solve the problem, but it's a step in the right direction. And these people have been pushing for it for a long time. And there's no guarantee that city council is even going to bring it up. They're talking about putting it on the ballot, which they've been talking about for some time, and it hasn't been done yet. So we'll see. But we're going to go there and raise hell. And I think it'll be recorded. If it's recorded, I'll upload it here so you guys can see what went on and what we talk about. It's important not to talk about pure success stories, because the whole point of getting this box removed is because people aren't getting jobs. And I struggled when I got out of prison. If it wasn't for having a friend that was willing to give me a shot, guys, I went and interviewed at a bunch of different places. I went to a local gym down the street from where the halfway house was to get a job selling gym memberships. And I was selling myself. I was pushing hardcore, and they were really concerned about me being a felon and how other employees were going to feel about that and how members might potentially feel if they knew. And in my mind, I'm like, man, you're assuming everybody's going to have these giant issues with it. And maybe some people will, some people won't. But the fear that prevents people from moving forward and giving second chances. And once that one person stands out in the front and says, I'm going to give you a chance, then the other sheeple will follow and do it too. So we just need somebody to jump out and say, yeah, let's fucking give these guys a second shot. Then other people can come in behind it. And if it fails, well, that guy's the one that jumped out first, so let's blame him. So that's the kind of world we live in. People want to blame somebody when shit doesn't work. So politicians equal dirtbag, right? I guess that's probably a fair statement. I can recommend someone for you, Dan. She is working on prison reform and has a strong voice. Absolutely, Dave. If you want to send me a message or even talk about her name in here, people like that we love to get shout outs to, and let the world know that there's people out there that do care. So definitely go ahead and post her information right here in this chat, and then when the video is done, when it renders, you can post it in the comments as well, and maybe somebody else will read her information that needs it as well. So yeah, so that was we had a lot of fun with that. It was a big look. It was at a church. They did a big barbecue. There was ribs. There was all kinds of amazing food. Everybody brought like a little potluck. Brought something. I didn't know what to bring, so I bought like veggies and cookies, and we brought some drinks. But man, the pastor of the church, he went all out and smoked ribs for like hours. Must have been hours and hours and hours, because as many people that showed up yesterday, they did not run out of ribs. And I don't know about you guys, but I definitely enjoy a good barbecue. Speaking of barbecue, we will be barbecuing today. Today is Oliver and Einstein's birthday. Yes, they both have the same birthday. They're 10 today. So if anybody wants to send a happy birthday to Oliver and Einstein, that would be amazing. You can go on Facebook. Remember, guys, you got me on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. It's all just rdapdan. So if you haven't, or if you've got Snapchat and you have not already added me, I do put out some retarded stuff on Snapchat from time to time just to be silly, and I usually send that out to everybody that's going on. Sarah Walker. Okay, awesome. Definitely somebody's name I've never heard of before, Dave. So if you have information on how I can get a hold of Sarah Walker, you've got my email, which is rdapdan@gmail.com. There you go. There's my email. Also, guys, here's some positivity on what you can be doing. So everybody knows how my YouTube channel started. I posted a video prior to going to federal prison, just kind of talking about the shitty situation. I've got a client. His name is Jay Hugasane, and he's getting ready to get sentenced on, I believe, August 11th. Jay posted a video last week about getting ready to go to federal prison, and I'll tell you what. Here's a little video on YouTube that there you go. You guys can click on that video if you want later, save it, archive it, whatever. But that is a client of mine that is getting ready to go to prison, who is just talking about the fear, and even with hiring me, guys, there's still going to be fear and anxiety. The goal is to help you manage this fear and anxiety to a manageable amount, to where you're not allowing it to build up and build pressure to where you end up doing crazy things. We've heard of way too many people that have either attempted suicide, committed suicide, going on the run, becoming, if they weren't a drug addict, they're returning to drugs and alcohol now. Do we click there right now? You can. It will take you probably off of this, or it'll open up a separate window. Or you can, copy it and save it for later. I will also post it in the description of this video. So if you do want to watch it after the video, here, I'll post it right here. It's just going to be called Watch Jay's Prison Video. I'll put it all caps. Watch Jay's Prison Video here. There you go. I also posted it in the description for you guys, so you can check it out later if you want. But it's like a minute long video or something like that, and I have an alert on my YouTube channel. So anytime anybody posts the word federal prison, or this the phrase federal prison, I get an alert of it. So I saw it when Jay put it on, and I'll tell you what, you don't know what's going to come from that. My YouTube channel and helping thousands and thousands and thousands of people has come from me making that one video, not knowing why I did it at the time, just because I wanted to talk about what I was going through, and I felt lost, empty, dark, anxiety-ridden, fear, just all of those things is what I felt. And because of that, here we are a couple years later. Next month will be, I self-surrendered in 2014 of September. So next month will be the anniversary. We'll make sure we do a video on that. And it was because of that one video, guys, that we're all here talking today about how we can change our lives for the better and how federal prison might be able to help you guys. Federal prison's not going to be the end of the world for most of you. Camps, lows, even the mediums. Guys, if you go in there with the right attitude, you go in there with the right expectation, you go in there and you work hard, you know what you want to get out of this, when you return home, the impact that this can have on you is incredible. Just incredible. And there's so many things that I wish I had done differently that I did not do that could have made a huge impact. You know, the worst case scenario that I could have gotten once I took my plea was 60 months, and I ended up with 42 months. So it was still better than 60. But what would have happened if I would have had 1,000 hours of community service? What would have happened if I would have had a powerful narrative and character reference letters? I didn't have that stuff. So basically, the judge sentenced me right along a line with what he sentenced everybody else that was at the same situation as me. Guys that we're seeing put in these effort and take these recommendations and run with it, we are seeing amazing results. So when I hear these idiot prison consultants out there saying it doesn't make a difference, what are you basing that on? Like, you're telling somebody that, and it's such horrible advice to say it's not going to make a difference when we already see that it can. So if you know that it potentially can, even if it's got such a slight chance at making a difference, why would somebody not want you to do those things? Is it because they're lazy? They don't want to put in the time and the effort? They don't know how to do a personal narrative? They think just telling you how to prepare for prison's enough? I mean, what do you guys really need to know about preparing for prison? How much do you need to know? Here, I'll tell you real quick. You don't have to fucking worry about anything because you're going to a camp or a low, and it's not going to be scary. You're going to make good friends. You're going to get through it. You're going to get in shape. You're going to eat right. You're going to take classes. It's going to be like a college campus. There you go. Now you don't ever need to talk to another prison consultant because that's what they're all going to tell you. Or they're going to say, if you don't hire me, you're going to go to a pen and you're going to get butt raped every day. You know, you don't know what their fear tactics are, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy. You know, there's a couple of guys out there that do good work. They just charge too much. Overcharging is almost equally damaging as taking advantage of somebody or telling somebody the wrong information, because it's cutting off such a large mass of people that need the help that just can't afford it. How can you be in this industry going through what you've gone through? How can you have went to federal prison and knowing how afraid you were and tell somebody because they can't afford $10,000 or $5,000 that you can't help them? Go watch a video. How can you do that knowing what you went through when you know that you can do it for way less than that if you want to and still make a profit? We charge $1,500 and we're able to make a profit with an entire team of people and live decent lives. We're not suffering. We're not, living on food stamps. We're living comfortable lives. And the longer we're at this, the better our reputation is growing. The more the income grows, guys. If you want to build a business, I urge all of you to get out and try to help somebody when you get out of prison. I would love to see an amazing team of federal prison consultants get released from the system and enter into that super gratifying, rewarding peace of mind of knowing that you're giving back to somebody that needs the information you have, that craves it so bad, almost like air. It's like charging somebody for something that they fucking need, and it's scary. Dan, my guidelines were 19 and a half years, and I got 9.5. Oh, that's awesome. See, that's the kind of stuff we like to hear. People, but you go tell that to a prison consultant, they don't want to hear it. It's because their mentality is just different. They went through it in a different way. They didn't take, a lot of people go into prison and just go into prison and become part of the prison mentality. And they get out and they think, okay, I've been there because I did 10 years. There's all these prison consultants out there that talk about all the time that they did, but yet they don't offer anything to really help you other than they know a little bit about the law. Okay, so does your attorney. You know, it's not like your attorney's inability to practice law is the problem. Your attorney's inability to explain what's next in the anxiety state of mind, what a personal narrative should look like, how to get into RDAP. These are things that the attorneys don't focus on. That's where somebody like me comes into play. So when you got a prison consultant that's not giving you those benefits, what are they giving you? And it's mind-boggling to see the kind of fuckery that's out there with these shitty prison consultants, and they think they've got like the magic recipe and they're the best that's out there and nobody can do what they do. You've got guys that are prison consultants that worked for the BOP. They worked in Grand Prairie. They've got some contacts there and they're going to say, well, we can help you get designated. Most of your guys' problems, 90%, is not designation. Yeah, you all want to go to a certain prison, but I can tell you guys what. Camps are camps, lows are lows for the most part. There's not going to be a drastic difference. Getting into RDAP is your main concern. Getting to a prison that has RDAP, you get to a prison that's got RDAP, you're golden. If not, and you qualify for RDAP, and you've got enough time on your sentence, more than likely you're going to be redesignated. So when you're hiring a consultant that's just going to tell you, well, I've got connections, and I can get you to whatever prison you want. Okay, that's great. But the prison you want to go to is probably just like the other prison that you end up going to. So where is the real benefit other than a psychological benefit? What we try to focus on is needs. Not wants, but needs. We know what people need. We know people need to be able to have peace of mind. We know people need to be able to deal with anxiety and stress, to be able to control with their family and explain to their family of what's going on. You have to have somebody that's going to focus on these strong points. Like there's people out there like Mike Winters. Have you spoken to your kids yet? Your answer is probably no, and you know you need to. At some point, you have to like just grab your balls and go have a conversation with your kids about what's going on, because you never know in your case what could change up at any minute, and all of a sudden your bonds are revoked, you're sitting in prison, or you're sitting in county, and you haven't explained to your kids yet what's going on. Now you got to do it through a phone or visitation. So guys, if you've got children, you've got family, you've got loved ones, if you're living in this fantasy world because you don't want anybody to know because you're embarrassed, get the fuck over the embarrassment, swallow your pride, and go talk to your family, people that you care about. And if they're not going to be supportive, give them time to process. Not everybody's going to swallow what you got to say the same way. Not all of your crimes are not the same. But you have to give time. You have to give people enough time to process what is going on. And it's not a fun conversation. It was the hardest mental conversation I've ever had in my entire life, having that conversation with my children. But the thought of having that conversation with my children was way harder than the actual conversation. Just like the thought of going to prison is way more difficult than actual prison itself, I promise. So once you have that conversation, oh my God, your chest feels, you breathe better, you sleep better. Then days, weeks, months later, your kids start asking questions. And they can process it little at a time, little at a time, little at a time. But when you're plucked out of your household off to prison and now it's just dumped on them 100%, they're all over the place. They're blaming, they're crying, they don't know how to take it. They start rebelling, they start getting in fights in school, using drugs, depends what age they are. So many things can come from not doing, just like everything else. Prepare. The earlier the better, the earlier the better. Same thing. Once you know prison's likely in your future, go talk to your children. Just do it. Bite the bullet and do it, Mike. What else we got going on in here? We got Dave. I've never been in prison. I just like your channel as entertainment and educational. Think I watch more YouTube channels than TV media. Well, thank you, Christian. I appreciate that. Dave, and my lawyers didn't allow me to submit my personal narrative. Yeah, guys, Dave is the guy that we were talking about earlier that unfortunately his attorneys would not take the personal narrative. Even though he showed it to probation officers, he showed it to other people, and they're all like, this is great stuff, accountability. His attorneys, because they've never seen this method, They've never seen a person. Most personal narratives, guys, are please, please, please. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do it. Give me a second chance. My kids are going to be sad without me. My sick dog, my dying wife, blah, 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 blah. That's what most judges read. That's what most attorneys will actually give you advice on and what to write. So when an attorney sees the letters that we do and that we help you with, most attorneys get it right away. They're like, this is good shit. This is really, really good. And they want to take credit, and that's fine. But in Dave's situation, his attorneys wouldn't take it. Not only would they not, they pretty much flat out told him, no, we're not doing it. And it's like, fuckers, I paid you. I didn't pay you to tell me what to do. I paid you to give me advice, and I get it that you don't think I should be doing this. But at some point, that's when Dave had to should have played a little bit harder ball with them and said, look, you're doing this. I'm not asking you. You are doing this in the form of email, because we all know that everybody wants to file appeals later on for ineffective counsel, and those appeals very rarely get passed through. But if you've got documentation that your attorneys did not do in your best interest, it strengthens it up a little bit more. But if I remember, I don't think Dave had anything in his, I don't think he did that through email. So 6 figures paid. Dave paid 6 figures to his attorneys, and they refused to turn in his personal narrative. Now, would his personal narrative have made a difference in sentencing? We'll never fucking know. So now Dave's going to spend, what'd you say, 9.5 years, Dave, is what you were sentenced to? Dave's going to spend 9.5 years in federal prison, and he's going to deal with it, he's going to process it, he's going to get past it, but there's always going to be that thought that goes, what if that fucking attorney had sent it in to the judge? Would it have made a difference in my time? Would I be out any sooner? We don't want to live on what ifs and should have, could haves, guys. We don't want to. We know the letters aren't going to hurt you at sentencing. If for some reason his attorneys were telling him, oh, these letters are going to kill you, it looks like he got killed pretty good at sentencing. And he did a lot of other preparation, though. So Dave did take a lot of his own steps into play. And, hopefully that stuff will play out for him later on. He did what he had to do. So we're just going to, now it's in God's hands. Dave's done everything he can do. His attorneys, dropped the ball a little bit here and there. And that's the unfortunate situation when you guys put all this trust and faith blindly into anybody. I'm not like, you should never just trust what I'm saying. I was watching Game of Thrones, guys. I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. I don't know if any of you are, but in the last episode or two episodes ago, they were talking to, and I never remember the characters' names, but the mother of dragons, whatever, the queen, the princess, she was pretty much telling one of the guys, why should we trust you? You've turned on everybody else when you decided you no longer like them. And he pretty much told her, he goes, look, I will trust you and follow you as long as you do what's right for the people. But the minute I see you change like the rest of the people did, I will also turn on you, and I will become your worst enemy. But as long as you're doing right, so my whole thing is, as long as I'm doing right by you guys and I'm doing what I should be doing, you guys should always question my motives, my methods. And if you ever see me doing something that seems like, hey, this isn't how you started, this isn't what you used to preach, now you're doing what all these other assholes are doing, I need you guys to hold me accountable and bring me back down to size, because I don't ever want to become that person. Now, obviously, when you start bringing on other team members and you bring on, like Irvin Shatner, if he's going to be getting involved with some of the clients, obviously can't do that for $1,500 because, his fee is $1,500 just to use him alone. So that has to be built in somehow, right? Payments, whatever. But the whole, it's value and benefit, value and benefit. If everybody's doing the best that they can for the best value that they can and giving you the absolute top line benefit, if you're not getting a shittier service. Bruce Cameron, who has a prison consultant business, told one of my clients that when they asked him, why would we hire you if we're going to hire Dan? What's the difference? He told him, well, why would you want to drive a Honda when you can drive a Mercedes? So I'm a fucking Honda and he's a Mercedes, but yet the client ended up going with me. And there's a reason for that. Because I don't play those fucking games. I'm not going to say that to somebody on the phone. I'm not going to throw another prison consultant under the bus that I know nothing about. I don't know anything bad about Bruce Cameron. He might be an amazing prison consultant. But for him to resort to those type of tactics, I have to consider his character and what his real motives are. Just because he didn't go to prison doesn't mean he's not capable of helping people. He worked in the prison system. He got to see a lot of other things. I don't believe somebody needs to go to prison to be able to help you guys or be able to help me. I do believe going to prison gives like instant credibility, which is scary because you're going to trust somebody just because they went to prison that they're going to be able to help you go to prison, when that could just be their sales tool going, well, I went to prison, they're going to trust me, so their guard's down. I'm not trying to lower your guard with the fact that I went to prison. It's not what I do. I make these videos, unscripted, basic outline, for that purpose. I want you guys to see what we're dealing with on a regular basis. And Joe from After Prison Show, guys, he's a true living success story. Joe wasn't like a lot of us that went to prison. Joe didn't just make one bad mistake, go to prison, get out, realize that bad mistake, and without that he would never do it again. Joe made several bad mistakes and in and out of trouble most of his young life until now. And he was able to turn that around and focus his energy and love and heart into a YouTube channel that, yes, now it makes money, but we all know when it started, it wasn't making money. You watch Joe's earlier videos, he talks about the bullshit jobs that he had to go through. You see the lower quality in his videos. Joe is a true life success story of somebody that's been in and out of trouble and was able to turn it around and start making positive choices. To me, that is harder than what a lot of us are going through. Most of us went into prison knowing if we don't go to prison, we would still never do anything wrong again. Just the fact of how much trouble most of us are in right now is enough to scare us. Well, that wasn't enough for Joe. He got lumped over the head, lumped over the head, lumped over the head, then finally said, I've had a fucking enough. I don't want to keep going through life like this because this is no life in the end, to be a repeat offender. So Joe probably knows deep down in his heart that he's got that ability to, at any given moment, make a bad decision, because in a lot of us, it's there. We have to keep it in check, and the best way to keep it in check is not ignore it. Don't pretend like it doesn't exist. Don't underestimate its power. It's like every time I look down and I remember the version of me that would make bad decisions, I see him right there. He's like RDAPdan's evil clone sitting right there trying to get strong over there on the ground doing push-ups, looking at me going, I'm just waiting for you to fucking slip. And the minute you slip, I'm going to jump in and bring you right back into the dark side. So I have to constantly keep the other version of me at bay. And I do that through these videos and the phone calls I have with you guys, because every time I talk to one of you, it's a reminder of where I was and what I went through. I wear my RDAP bracelet religiously. I have RDAP stuff surrounding me everywhere. I've got my bracelets behind me. You know, I don't know if you can see them back there, but I've got all my RDAP bracelets to remind me of what I went through. When I was leaving prison, and all these other dudes in prison were like, why are you bringing all this shit home? Like, I brought my RDAP books. I brought my RDAP bands. I brought all my letters. I mean, anything that, my RDAP coffee cup, my RDAP water bottle. I'm throwing all my shit away. I'm throwing this away. Why you? I don't want to remember any of that stuff. I'm like, because that's what brings us back to prison, is forgetting about this. Because it's so easy to put out of your mind, because it was a very rough point in most of our lives. Going to federal prison is just mentally disturbing. So remembering what that feels like and reliving it every now and then. Every time somebody knocks at my door, my heart jumps. Every time. If somebody knocked on the door right now, I would get this quiet look on my face where I want to like turn off everything and be real quiet and not say anything. Don't answer the door. Because when the feds came, that's what it was like. It was boom, 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 quiet. Then all hell broke loose and doors came flying in and guys with guns, you know, just unnecessary stuff, clearly. But nonetheless, it's embedded in my memory. I will never forget it. It's like PTSD. I will never forget it, and I will always fear that sound of a knock on a door, because you never know. God forbid you get blamed for something. You're in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, all of a sudden I get a new probation officer and he's like, you're violating probation by doing YouTube videos. Who knows? You know, I'm fortunate to have a probation officer that is as real as they come. He's either going to be your best friend or your worst fucking nightmare. You do what you're supposed to do, he'll support you 100%. You fuck up and do stuff you're not supposed to do, he'll be the first person to come yank me out of here and violate me. And I know that, and I respect that relationship, and I respect those boundaries. And because of that, he sees my sincerity in what I do, and he's allowing me to do this as a career, guys. He's allowing me to give back to people that are getting ready to go to prison. Not every probation officer would allow that. A lot of probation officers would almost have an issue with that. So, if you're getting ready for federal prison and you don't know what to do other than hire an attorney, that's a small part of what you can be doing right now. Hiring an attorney is not going to make you sleep better at night, because what you think is going to happen is your attorney is going to answer these millions of questions. And every time you got a question, he's going to call you back and email you back. I'm not going to say there's not attorneys out there that aren't like that, but most of them, they just don't. They don't have the bandwidth to deal with you on that level, nor do most of them want to. They have become so callous to the situation, because they've dealt with so many people before you, that they treat everybody the same, and they cookie cutter it right down the line. Personal narrative should be this, if they're even going to tell you about a personal narrative. Basically, their job is to go get a plea from the prosecutor, sell you on it, because if you tell them, well, I don't want to take that plea, they're going to sell you on why you should. Well, if you don't want to take the plea, could be looking at all this, they're going to tell you the facts, but you're not going to hear them say, well, let's go work for a better plea, or let me go back to, let me go rewrite this and see what we can do. They're not going to go above and beyond. They want to do the bare minimum, get in and out onto the next client. And like you heard Dave say, 6 figures. 6 figures. Makes me want to go get my law degree. Could you imagine if you had an attorney consultant? Like, that combination? But we get people going, oh, $1,500 is a lot. It's like, even on the low end, I'm like, you just told me you spent $30,000 or $15,000 on an attorney, but you want a nickel and dime over $1,500. It's like, if you don't see the value in what this type of service can bring you, then you're not looking hard enough. I've also decided not everybody is the right type of client. The client that only wants letters and RDAP, and maybe some additional halfway house time, and that's their only concern. If they're not, if you're looking to hire a prison consultant and you're not looking to utilize me for what my actual strengths are, anybody can write you some shitty letters. Not to say they're shitty letters, but anybody that knows what should go into the letter can do the letter. What your benefit is going to be the coaching, the anxiety. If you don't think you need that and you've got all that figured out and you're just looking for some letters and you don't want to go out and do community service, you don't want to go out and work for this, I'm not your guy. There's other prison consultants that will do bare minimal for you and give you bare minimal results. If you want real results and you want to change your life, you want to feel different, you want to actually be able to embrace this experience that you're getting ready to go on to, you want to see this as an opportunity versus a punishment, then I'm your guy. But if that's not what you're looking for, I'm not your guy. Because I don't want to deal with somebody that thinks they have it all figured out. Because that makes for a real rough relationship. Because I'm not that type of person. Just not. I'm the type of person that wants to engage and see where your mind is and pick your brain and get into a real conversation, not just this surface level, what are we going to do next? What's next? Okay, my letters are done. What's next? Well, what are you doing for community service? Oh, I'm not concerned about that. What's next? A refund because I can't help you. You don't want help. You're not ready. You don't think that that this is real. You're not at that level yet. So you need to be at that level. We need to be able to communicate, guys, because for me to help you, I've got to be able to get into your head. We've got to be able to almost connect on like a French. You've got to feel comfortable talking to me. And people that don't communicate well, that don't have conversations, they're hiding stuff. They're afraid to be vulnerable. So they're constantly thinking about what they're going to say and how it's going to be reflected back on them. That is not a good trait to have. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Today's Saturday, so we'll be on here again Monday. Tuesday, me and Joe are going to be talking to solidify the day that we're going to be doing something. We're planning on for the end of next week for me to be on his channel during a live stream podcast, so to speak. So I will let you guys know more about that, and I'm looking really forward. And then possibly the following week, we're going to have After Prison Show on our show, interviewing him about his success story, which I'm really looking forward to. So I hope you guys are too. Anyway, guys, keep the fight. Don't give up. Don't sit around and wait for your attorneys to do all the work. Get involved as much as you can. Community service, mentor network, personal narratives, character reference letters, understanding what's going to happen at your PSR, knowing all you can know about RDAP and what that means, how much time you're going to get off. All of these things are important for you to start paying attention to now. I will see you guys next week. I love every single one of you. Remember, subscribe to my channel. Do me that favor. Share this information on your Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Get the message out there. People helping people, communities method, one day at a time. All right, guys. Peace. We're out of here.